Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, November the 4th, 2022. Welcome to another eBay video. Today is going to be a very, someone just paid for something. Yeah! This is going to be a very special edition of the Crazy New York Driver Show. We're going to get down and deep into two very important subjects. Those subjects are when an eBay return goes horribly wrong and why you should vet all accounts on eBay when accepting best offers. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. This video is going to be unusually long and it required a lot of effort on my part, if I do say so. I had to film this video over 3 days. The first segment I filmed was on Tuesday, and that's going to probably be the longest segment. The runtime for that is about 17 minutes, where I discuss what to do when an eBay return goes horribly wrong. And I'm going to be showing you screenshots and walking you through every aspect. It's imperative that all of you pay attention. You must also pay attention to the segment that I filmed on Thursday, which will come after that, which is why you need to vet eBay accounts when accepting best offers. And then the section I'm filming now, I'm actually filming on Friday, okay? And this will be where I read your comments, questions, and concerns. So it's going to work itself out, but stick with me. Guys, I'm one of the few. In fact, I take that back. I think I'm the only YouTuber that is willing to address the hard-hitting problems when being an eBay seller. All right? I don't see anyone else doing it. All right. First, your comments, questions, and concerns from last week's video where I talked about feedback, extortion, and returns. Marcin Biankowski wrote, Number 1, we stopped shipping to Hawaii more than 3 years ago for the same reason. Too expensive to ship, and if there's a snag case opened, it hurts. Number 2, ever since eBay stopped allowing sellers to give a negative to a buyer, we've been leaving reverse positive feedback with negative reviews for all the sellers to acknowledge a bad buyer. We also add red emojis every 5 or 6 words so it's clearly visible. And number 3, we get these lazy sloths every 2 to 3 months on average. Marcin covered 3 important topics there, and I love all 3. I am finding it extremely helpful when eBay sellers leave reverse positive feedback when buyers do not pay. I swear to you, and you know guys, I'm a man of my word, at least 3 times each week I refuse to take somebody's best offer because they've had too many unpaid cases where sellers have left reverse positive feedback. It's extremely helpful. He also specified about not shipping to Hawaii. Hey, I stopped. I'm not shipping anything large. Just my first class items can go there. And yeah, next comment is from LJ Whitmire. I've never seen so many returns in my life. The other day I had more returns than sales. I sell clothes and offer 60-day returns for any reason, because otherwise they'll just file item not as described. So this lady returns a leather jacket saying it was contaminated with mold. I and my assistant have very sensitive noses and there's no way. Of course the jacket is fine. All the theatrics weren't necessary since I take returns regardless. 99% of returns are because people just don't read the description or look at the pictures. I know because they send questions that are answered in the description and the pictures. Again, eBay needs to weed out buyers who are not contributing to the platform. Very well said, LJ. eCurb replied to LJ's comment and said, "Why are you offering 60-day returns? There is no reason to offer any longer than 30 days. Then if someone asks you to accept a return after 31 days, you can decline and eBay will support you." And eCurb is correct. I decline every return over 30 days, and there is nothing that the buyer can do about it. Fair is fair and right is right, and it's time you stick up for yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. Michelle Murnock wrote, "Hey Joe, one more thing. I rarely have unpaid item cases. This past week I had 17. 17 did bait, 17 did, this is water I'm drinking, folks, just so you know. 17 deadbeat buyers who sent me offers which I accepted. Then like a fart in the wind, they disappeared. I vetted all of them before accepting their offers. I do not know why I suddenly had so many, but I'm thinking about turning back on the requiring immediate payment feature on all my listings. I like to keep it off as I sell in a niche where buyers often buy multiples, but in 17 unpaid item cases in a week is atrocious. My block list is getting longer and longer lately. Sheesh." Dennis Copper wrote, "Joe, that's interesting if a bad buyer on eBay does not print the return label you sent them, but instead opens a case. eBay could have prevented that automatically by telling the bad buyer to print the damn label. Tell me, how can a bad buyer open a case when there's a return pending? It makes no sense." Dennis, you are totally right. And that leads me in to tonight's main topic, which is, unfortunately, guys, an eBay return that went horribly wrong. I've been talking to you guys for the last 3 or 4 weeks about 2 specific returns that were still open. One of them is still open, but right now I'm going to devote the next 17 minutes to the lady who bought the Ford Taurus hubcaps from me, manually changed the amount she wanted to buy, then filed a false item not as described claim, so I'd have to pay the shipping back. And I'm going to show you how this played out. You're not going to freaking believe it. A disclaimer. In my personal feeling, this is not indicative of all eBay buyers. I've been selling on eBay for 23 years, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me. So I don't want you to be scared about selling on eBay, but I do want you to understand what you have to do if you get a scammer buyer. Please, for Christ's sake, every one of you now, stop what you're doing. Stop your shipping. Stop watching Bugs Bunny. Yeah, last week we actually had a guy watching Bugs freaking Bunny instead of paying attention to my video, and he misunderstood a point I was trying to make. So everybody stop, focus on the screen, and we're going to show you right now what happens when an eBay return goes horribly wrong. Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. This part of the video is being filmed on Tuesday, November the 1st, for continuity reasons. I'm going to go inside now and I'm going to discuss everything that went on with this particular return from hell. But I wanted you to see that even on Tuesdays, it's cloudy and rainy. We just can't catch a break. Let's go inside and let me fill you in. Okay guys, as I said outside, today is November the 1st. See it? It happens to be a Tuesday, which I rarely ever film on a Tuesday. But I'm doing this now for clarity purposes. I don't want to wait till Friday to relate the events to you. I want to do it right now while everything is super fresh in my mind. Before I can actually start my soliloquy, I need to show you the case. We're going to go to some screenshots. Please pay attention to my screenshots where I show you that this person is a blatant scammer who joined eBay specifically to buy my items, then filed a false, item not as described case to get the free shipping back. And once I introduce you to that, the facts of the case, we'll go through the whole thing. So let's do that first. Let's get started by taking a look at this return, which the buyer has lied and claimed that it doesn't match description or photos. All right, the buyer opened the case on October 22nd. Look at the return reason here, doesn't match description or photos. And in the details, she hangs herself and she writes, I just thought that if it said Ford Taurus and was for the current year, that it would fit. I had no idea there were thick hubcaps and thin hubcaps. This is clearly a case of buyer remorse where this buyer is fraudulently claiming doesn't match description or photos to get the free shipping back. In the description here, it clearly says one factory original, blah, 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 14-inch hubcap wheel cover. And this idiot savant even went through the trouble of changing the default quantity from 1 to 3. This is how inane she was. Now let's take a look at who we're dealing with. Look at this. October 15th, right here. Look at it. Look, look, look. This person joined eBay on October 15th specifically to buy my item. I think it's very sad that eBay will take the word of a transient, a fly-by-night, over the word of somebody who's been selling on eBay for 23 years and has 100% positive feedback. This is a problem that's been with eBay for many, many years. The fact that there are no checks and balances with these item not as described cases. There are some people, I'm not saying a lot, but there are some people that know how to manipulate the system and do it with impunity. And it's my personal feeling that this is one person. All right, you've seen the evidence. Now let me explain exactly what went down. All right, guys. Now that you know the facts of the case, I'm going to give you the timeline and recount every single event that happened to me. I urge everyone who sells on eBay to listen to what I'm saying and pay freaking attention. Because if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. I will show you conclusive proof that I did everything a good seller should do and was promised things would go according to Hoyle, as they say, and oh gods, I wound up getting it the way I don't like to get it. But I'm a fighter. And if this happens to you, you need to stand up for yourself. Okay? So that being said, let me tell you the saga of my return. And before I even do that, I reiterate that this is highly unusual. All right? The odds of this happening to you are not good, hopefully. I've been on eBay for 23 years, and I get a lot of returns. I even get a lot of false item not as described returns to get the free shipping back. But I've never, ever had anything like this happen in my 23 years. But like I said, I've heard stories from other people. Now you're hearing it from me. And I've got credibility in the community because I'm a straight shooter and I tell it like it is. Let's get started with the timeline. On October the 15th, the buyer that I just showed you with zero feedback signed up to eBay specifically to buy my Ford Taurus items. Okay, I shipped them out right away the next day. On October the 18th, which was a Tuesday, the buyer then filed for a return, claiming, pictures don't match description, even though it's wrong. On the 20th, which was a Thursday, I formally reported the buyer to eBay just because she is misusing the returns process. At this point, I wasn't really highly upset because I've had some of these before, but anytime I get a false item not as described case, I always report the buyer. That's what eBay tells us to do, and for Christ's sake, you should do it too. As I said, I reported her on the 20th. But I'm still not that upset because I had to send her a label, as you know, when there's an item not as described case, so I'm waiting for the items to come back. Everything that happens from now on is just crazy, so pay attention. 2 days later, on the 22nd, which was a Saturday, the buyer, instead of sending the items back to me, in which I would pay for, escalates a case to eBay. What? And on a Saturday? What kind of a scammer is this? 2 minutes later, I swear to Christ, I'm not lying. 2 minutes later, I get a canned email from eBay saying to the effect that they have looked at the case and that they feel the items were not as described. This is on the 22nd, which was a Saturday. Now, I'm chagrined, but I'm not really worried because I already sent her the label. So I know the items should be coming back to me. Even though I have eBay Concierge, I have learned never call eBay on the weekend. For any reason, at any time. Please don't do it, guys. If you have Concierge, don't do it. You're hearing it from me. Let it play out till Monday when everybody goes back to work and call Monday, which is what I did. I called Monday the 24th just after lunch. I spoke to a concierge representative and I said to him basically, this person filed a false item not as described case against me. I'm not calling because of that. I have to send her a label because that's the way it works on eBay. I am calling because she's now escalated it to a case instead of sending the item back. What's going on? Let me grab a drink of coffee right here. So the rep says to me, let me check into it for you. I mentioned this, I think, in last Friday's video. So he looked at it and he said, I think there might be a glitch. I don't think she got the label. He goes, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to force feed a label to her so she sends you the items back. Once you get the items back, you may take a deduction for the shipping because obviously it is exactly as described. I pointed out everything to him. The rep was a real nice guy. He agreed with me, so I wasn't worried. Hey, eBay's protecting me. I'm set. That was on the 24th. So now I'm still waiting for the labels to come back, for the items to come back. On Saturday the 29th, I get a message from eBay, a canned message, saying that they have investigated the case. They are going to allow the buyer to keep the item, and they're going to take the $89 and change out of my account because I never responded to the case. Never responded to the case. I called up twice. I was shocked. Again, this was on a Saturday the 29th. this is where I once again use my brain. No way would I attempt to call eBay concierge on a weekend. Not going to happen. I'll wait till Monday after lunch, take it nice and slow, explain my situation. And that's exactly what I did. On Monday the 31st, which was yesterday, Halloween, I called eBay concierge, got a nice lady on the phone, explained everything to her. She looked at the whole situation, and she was in disbelief. She said, Joseph, she goes, I am going to appeal the decision so you get your $89 back, which she did do, and apparently I think I did get my $89 back. At least that's what the eBay message said. I am very, very concerned and chagrined that this can happen to an eBay seller in 2022. Why are there no checks and balances in this return system? I have heard stories, third-party stories, where other people claim they got ripped off because the buyer was allowed to keep the item and get their money back. But truthfully, guys, I never knew anybody personally that this actually happened to. So I always thought to myself that maybe there's more to the story than they're telling. And maybe there is, or maybe there was. But not this time, because I'm putting it out there. It happened to me. If it happens to you guys, you must be willing to fight the case. Again, I think it's sad. Now, we're not done yet. Oh no! This buyer is a crackpot. And if you want to know where they come from the great state of Maryland. Maryland. Not that that means anything, but they contacted me the other day. Not through the eBay contact system, through my personal email. I swear to Christ on the cross in Brooklyn, I don't know how they got it, because it's not on the packing slip that you send out to the buyers. There's no email for me on there. You know eBay hides that stuff. I don't know how they got my personal information, but they emailed me off eBay and they said it basically, if you want your items back, we want money. They're holding them for ransom. But I guess they don't know I got my $89 back, all right? They probably don't know that. But this sucks, okay? A buyer, I'm going to use the word buyer, that term loosely, a person with zero feedback can join eBay specifically to buy an item, make any fraudulent claim they want against a seller, whether the seller has a feedback of 10, 500, 5,000, 20,000, doesn't matter. The buyer will always win. The buyer will always be believed. I am not going to sit here and say all sellers are perfect, because they're not. I've run into a bunch of bad ones, all right? But most sellers are honest, just like most buyers are honest. But you can't have it all one way. And that's what eBay basically is right now. And it's been this way for a while. There needs to be a system of checks and balances on these false item not as described cases. I have been outspoken about this louder than anyone I know. And if you guys know any YouTuber that's been louder about it than me, I want their name in the comment section below, because I will contact them myself and maybe together we can get something changed. All right? I don't hear any of these other YouTubers complaining or making any valid points. All they seem to do is say things like, hey, if you want to make $1 million, sell this item. Well, if you can make $1 million selling that item, why aren't you selling it? Why are you putting up this video telling us to sell it? I don't like the sound of that. But yeah, You guys know that in the past, I have lobbied for a panel of sellers. I'm saying sellers to validate or, in some cases, repudiate these false item not as described claims. They can't all be legit. And I showed you proof once again where the seller got stung, the seller being me. So that's why I wanted to make this part of the video today, Tuesday, while it's fresh in my mind, and I'm going to incorporate it into my Friday video. So when you see this, it'll be Friday. Originally, I was going to make it a standalone video, but I changed my mind. It'll be easy if I just put everything together for Friday. So that's all I have to say right now, today on Tuesday. All right, guys. That is what I went through with this particular return. I don't feel this is indicative or representative of most eBay returns or most eBay buyers. But I'm very concerned that in the year 2022, the eBay return system is set up so that a bad buyer can royally dick over a seller. I showed you concrete proof. I don't think anyone's going to fight me on this. I really would like to see constructive and deep comments from all you guys regarding the case I just showed you. eBay needs to restructure the return system so that even with these item not as described cases, if a buyer claims not as described, even falsely, we as the seller, all right, send them a label at our expense and they have to send the item back. Once that happens, there should be no escalations. We have accepted the return. What is going on? Why? Why is this happening? How could this happen? I don't know. It's ponderous, man. But this is something I wanted to share with you guys. I think this is going to be a good learning experience for everybody. Now I have something else to share with you. We're going to jump to another screenshot, which I filmed on Thursday afternoon. A buyer sent me an offer of, I believe it was $50 on an $80 item. The item is kind of a dog item, and I was actually considering taking the offer. But I did what I always tell you to do. I vetted his account. I looked at the feedback he received from sellers to see if anybody left him reverse positive feedback saying buyer never paid, and everything looked great. Then I clicked on feedback left for his sellers, and take a look at this. Guys, I just received a best offer on an item that I'm selling on eBay. I've always told you guys, before accepting any offers, check the buyer and check the feedback he's left for his sellers to make sure he's not trouble waiting to happen. And when I saw this one, I knew I just had to share it with you. This particular person has only left a few feedbacks, and almost every one is a negative. And look at this. They even mention hubcaps. For instance, first one's a negative. Hubcaps were thrown in oversized box, no packing, 2,000 miles to get me petty much junk. Negative. Same exact comment for another seller who has nothing to do with the first seller. All right? Now let's scroll down to here. Look. Hubcaps should have been put in trash 50 years ago. Here's one about a CD. Here's one that says hubcap is junk. Here's one that says hubcaps are okay, but shipping was more than posted. You guys know that buyers are never supposed to complain about the cost of the item or the cost of the shipping. All right? Considering he has left me a best offer on my hubcaps, do you think I stand any chance with this guy of getting anything close to a positive feedback? No. He's only left a few, and the guy's got almost 290. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I apologize. The guy has almost 490 positive feedbacks, and yet he's only left these few, and almost all the ones are negative or have a negative connotation in some way. Well, it doesn't take a small tangerine to know that I declined his offer and I blocked him. What would you guys have done? Because I'd really like to know. What more is there to say than this? Please vet all accounts when you receive a best offer. Not only did that buyer leave an unusual amount of negs and neutrals and reverse positives, but they were almost all for the exact same item he's buying from me. Do you think I would have stood a chance with him? Absolutely not. Naturally, needless to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, I declined his offer and I blocked him. I do not want to do business with a person like that. Again, this particular bad buyer, like the one I showed you earlier, is not representative of all eBay buyers or even most. This week that just passed was freaking booming. Excellent week. One of my best in a long time. Sales are just jumping. Oddly enough, I don't think I had a single deadbeat bidder all week. However, I did have several returns. All right, and they're still open. The one return that I've been telling you about for weeks where they broke the item is still open. People are slow to send the items back. But guys, I have kept you 30-something minutes this week. And I know you don't like videos that are that long, and I don't like making them that long, but this one is really important, and I really think that the information needs to get out there. You need to see it for yourself and digest it and know how to handle this in case it happens to you. Because like the old saying I always say, if it happened to me, it can happen to you. I'm Crazy New York Driver. You're not. Thank you for watching this video. Every Friday night I come out here and I make these videos to try and help you stay successful as an eBay seller. If you think I'm doing a good job, please leave me a thumbs up. It tells me I'm on point and appreciated. If you don't think I did, tell me in the comment section what you want me to hit up, and I'll be more than happy to try and do it next week. Guys, make a lot of money on eBay this week. Rock on and peace!